Hey, I want to thank all y'all for joining me. If you're watching this video, okay, it was recorded on the 17th of March 2025, St. Patty's Day. And I wanted to get ahead on this video because I know that by now, if you're paying attention, you pretty much know what's going on. So I played some soothing music in hopes that you'll find inspiration in some of the things I'm going to give you. Now, I'm going to give 6 shout outs, and while I do understand that these people did not pay nor ask me to endorse them, this is something that I've chosen to do. Also, understand that I am subbed to these channels, and so I'm hoping that they can help you. Alright, so before we get into the topic of the video, let's do the shout outs. Let's take a trip to Great Britain real quick, where Aaron Knightley will be waiting for us, okay? So Aaron Knightley worked a regular job, regular 9 to 5, and he now does courses that helps him live the life that he wants to live. And he travels, I think, Great Britain, talking to people about how they can escape the rat race in the 9 to 5. Great Britain is having much of the same problems we're having when it comes to corporate culture, work culture. Now, quickly, Aaron also emphasizes staying physically fit in shape and keeping on a calendar. If you want to know how to do online courses or write an online business, also build something for a future, get an inspirational story, and come up with a contingency plan to have your own business, because in the economy we're living in, we're no different than Great Britain right now. So we have to have those plans set in place. Aaron will be a good channel that I would recommend, if you can, to go at least check out and maybe sub to. Now back to the United States, and we're going to start with a New Yorker that travels the country, the Solomon Project, where it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep that counts. He has knowledge of finances and will hold some lives talking about the markets and whether politics or what's put in the news exaggerates markets. Remember, he's not giving financial advice, but he can guide you in the right direction. The Solomon Project will be the most important for this video in that he can give the most advice about the markets, given what we're going to discuss here. My next shout out is Rose Hahn. I think I subbed to her late 2023, early 2024. It's been less than 2 years, I know. Rose, I think, struggled with student debt and worked for a corporate company and ended up starting her own business as well. And she breaks down the difference between how the 1% lives versus how we live. And the things she says is very practical, and how even if you're poor, she gives practical solutions for how you can bring yourself up and make money. But you have to be willing to make the sacrifices. And I think she also has a guide, like a journal, that lets you write down what your goals and things are. Rose is the type of person that gives you the incentive to be proactive. And though she doesn't know who I am and I'm subbed to her channel, she's the chief reason that in April I'm going to take off and just work on my soaping business. So I am grateful to Rose. So if you can, at least try and give her a try. Go watch a few of her videos and a few of her shorts. The next one is Robert Edson. He's a single father. I think his son just turned 16. Happy birthday to your son, Robert. Robert is that no-nonsense cousin or uncle that's going to tell you like it is and tell you to get prepared. He has a coaching business, and it ranges from relationships to finances. But he keeps up with the news regularly and can kind of predict trends very well. So go check his channel out. Next, but certainly not least, by now, if you have common sense, Hook It Up Homestead. She goes into detail on her channel about how to grow food. With the way things are going, you'd better find you a community of farmers who either grow food and teach gardening, or you better be ready to buy theirs. Because in order to stave what's coming, you're going to have to grow some things. May even have to barter them. So particularly if you live in the South like she does, you can take some tips from the soils there. You don't have to live in the South to take her tips, but the object of the game is to have enough food on what little land you have to compensate for what you're going to miss. Because we know what's going on right now, so we ain't got to get into that. Last and certainly not least is Sutton's Days, and I have to buy her book on Etsy. She has a 100-day guide for how to prep for what's coming. And also, she teaches you how to can food, how to make things, how to live depression era, to prepare yourself to live lean. We've lived fat in the United States for way too long. It's time for us to live lean. And Sutton's Days can teach you how to still eat a wonderful meal without having to lose too much. Right now, I think she's doing a canned meat series, like what's called ugly chicken, ugly beef, ugly pork. And then she'll tell you how to cook those canned foods, so you don't have to just eat them straight out of the can after showing you how to can those foods. Pantry preparedness is just not something you can ignore. It's no different than Hook It Up Homestead. While Hook It Up Homestead, you need to have some fresh fruits and vegetables, or at least fresh veg you can grow on your own. For Sutton's Days, you're going to have to keep certain things in the pantry. As she says, stack it to the rafters. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. We're going to go on and go straight into it. You see, it's nothing new that people dip into their 401ks. It really isn't. People do this more often than you think. Because depending on how you do it, the penalties can be rarely low in a calendar year. The problematic thing going on now is that there's an increase in people doing it because they are so desperate to make car and mortgage payments. Those are the top reasons, and behind that, buying basic necessities. With all the bargain stores we have in the United States that have not yet gone under, there are people who still feel that they have to dip into their 401ks in order to survive. If this doesn't tell you we're in trouble, then you just want to be unaware of what's going on around you. This is why I brought in the Solomon Project, because he has a rudimentary ideal of finance and how that stuff works. I'm not too familiar with 401ks. I'm on what's called a thrift savings plan. So I think my husband dipped into ours a few years ago, but it's not something that he didn't pay the penalties. See, the reason I gave you all those shout outs is because I'm a solutions-based person. All this stuff about fear-mongering and not finding solutions and then trying to sell you a program, I think is absolute hogwash. They're now saying that the uptick from the last few years up to now is from 2% of people who do it in a year to 5%. And while that doesn't seem like a large number, how much higher can it go when the cost of living is just too unbearable? You have no certainty that your job is going to be guaranteed tomorrow, much less the end of the day. You could be sitting home and in the middle of the night or on your way to work get the text saying you've been laid off or you've been fired. This article is scary because it's indicative of what I was hoping wouldn't go bad so soon. We're not in a recession, in my opinion, but we're headed for it, and I think it's the train is going to derail off of the track sooner than we think. You know, we've reached a low point when people need to dip into their 401ks to buy the basics for their home, to keep their home to begin with, and to pay their car payments. Stuff like this is an example of why I'm going to disappear most of the month of April and just focus on my soap business. Thank goodness that most of my stuff has arrived and I can just go ahead and get prepared and get started. And I gave you those resources because even if you go work a regular 9 to 5, because everybody can't be an entrepreneur, you better have something on the side if you lose that 9 to 5. To sit around and to wait on that one source of income is reckless and irresponsible at this point. Life has to be more than about being entertained. I'm sure the people who are dipping in their 401ks to cover the bare necessities didn't ever think that they were going to have to sacrifice retirement money in order to live a life. No person puts into this system thinking that. But make no mistake, while I myself give into that system, I don't trust it. And it goes back to what I told you, you're going to have to make community the norm. Working with people and alongside people for a better and more equitable future for yourself and anyone in your group or community willing to help. I invited Mr. Burns because I don't have a 401k. Again, I'm thrift savings plan. It's kind of similar. But I just want to know what are the long-term implications of this. If I'm a conspiracy theory and a betting person, I would think that this is being done on purpose to make people work until they go 6 feet under or go in a crematorium. It's as if the United States is pushing people to their brink, or at least trying to create a system to where people are going to have to depend on that system for all of its needs and suffer the consequences when they don't. But aren't we here already though? Because if you have to dip into the retirement that you've been waiting to take because you thought that was safe, it was never safe, for the record, okay? But because you thought it was safe, that's what you look to for your future guarantee. The United States of prosperity, the post-World War II United States in the middle 20th century, mid-century, that United States is gone. The higher money certain people make in profits, the less they're starting to care about you. And look, there are some rich people that care about the poor. A whole lot of them don't. Excuse the cough. There has to be long-term implications dipping into your retirement funds for necessity. I'm not judging it. This is a free talk. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying that when we've gotten to this low point, I suspect that that number will jump from 5 to 8% within the next few years easily, going into 2030. Things don't look good anymore, y'all, and it's time to start taking community seriously. Look, YouTube serves to entertain you, and I don't disagree with that. I think you need a certain amount of relaxation and entertainment. That's why I played music at the beginning of this video. I'm not telling you who to sub to, but please consider the content in the 6 people that I recommended. That's all I can ask you to do. All right. Enjoy your week. Start making plans to prep for what's coming because it's not going to get any better. Thank you. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves and each other.